Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel. The statue of Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea has been toppled in Charlottesville. That's not actually true. It wasn't toppled, it was removed. I'm guessing there's a big difference. I didn't look it up, but I'm pretty sure toppled means that it was torn down, and it wasn't. It was legally removed. What happened was this. First, they said in Charlottesville, North Carolina, that they wanted to remove the statue of Robert E. Lee and then Stonewall Jackson. And as soon as they were done, the city council got together and said, hey dude, you know, while we got the wrecking crew out here, what if we take down another statue of a completely non-related whatsoever to the Civil War, the first one, statue of Lewis and Clark in Sacagawea. And they said, it won't cost us any money because the crew is already here. I'm sure it'll cost them a little bit of money, but a lot less. And they voted yes, and they took it down. So let's do a little flashback in time, shall we? Don't care about this. This isn't flashback. This is over in England. This is in Canada. The statue of Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II was torn down in Canada on July 2nd. Okay, so the Canadians are tearing down their statues. The Americans are tearing down their statues. Where did we get the idea for this? Well, I don't know where we got the idea initially, but look at this. Back in 2015... Let's see, what's the exact date on this? February 27th, 2015. ISIS smashes priceless ancient statues in Iraq. Shattered treasures include winged bulls that guarded entrance to ancient Nineveh. And there was worldwide outcry at them destroying the statues. If you look at another article from Newsweek, the day before, February 26th in 2015, replicas and at least one treasure destroyed by ISIS museum. These were not accolades. These were discussed. On Thursday, the Islamic State, ISIS, released a video purporting to show members of the group destroying ancient artifacts in Iraq. A group of men takes a sledgehammer, drills, and chainsaws to the statues, leaving them in ruins. The Prophet ordered us to get rid of the statues and relics. Okay, I wonder who ordered the people in Canada and America to do it. And here they are. This video was likely filmed in the Mosul Museum. Okay, so you get the idea. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the New York Post from the same date, February 26th. And again, all these guys were like, whoa, what are you doing? New video has been released showing ISIS smashing artifacts in Iraq, some dating back 2,000 years. Well, America isn't 2,000 years old, so we can't go back 2,000 years. But our founding is absolutely being removed, and not by the enemies of a foreign country that have come here to conquer us. No, it's coming from within. The same with us and the same with Canada. But wait. Now you remember this article that we looked at here. This is from National Geographic, and it's like, oh, shame on you, bad guys. Oh, how the tide does change. This is from last summer. This is, yeah, so you remember all the lovely going-ons of last summer. Pulling down statues. It's a tradition that dates back to U.S. independence. I'm afraid it dates back before then. Let's see, enthusiasm for the American Revolution. Yes, revolution. We overturned the government, led to colonists burn, disfigure, and deface any symbol of Britain and its hated king. So what's their excuse for doing it now? Again, this is from last year. Oh, forgot about that. Okay, so we'll skip that. Okay. Crews in Charlottesville removed. Okay, we talked about that. All right, so let's get back to this one. Statue of Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea toppled in Charlottesville. If they haven't changed the article, then the ending is just amazing. So there it is. You know, Sacagawea was one of the first women put on the not gold coins that, you know, we have those dollar coins that look gold, but they're not gold. And she was one of the first ones on them. And it was a much more welcome coin than the Susan B. Anthony, which was way too close to appearance and size of the quarter. Again, when you make it look gold, you don't have that issue. Okay. So, the bronze statue cast to honor the Lewis and Clark expedition includes two men and Sacagawea, the Shoshone guide and interpreter. She's an amazing woman. If you don't know the story of Lewis and Clark expedition, it is well known they would not have succeeded, and by that I mean stayed alive, without Sacagawea. This erasing of history, including American Indians, if you listen to this channel a lot, you know I make a big deal about, hey, where are the American Indians? Where are the American Indians? Apparently they're being removed from our city streets. They're not just removed from pop culture in Hollywood, which they have been, by the way. Now they're being removed from the statues. And let's see. Where'd it go? They did change it. Let's see. In recent years, it has been, let's see, in recent years, its design has been criticized as the portrait. Where'd it go? Inclusive guide and interpreter. In recent years, the design has been criticized for its portrayal of Sacagawea, who appears in a crouching position behind the standing white man. What do you mean standing white man? Why is that capitalized? Which activists have seen as disparaging. Two men guarding the little girl. She was 14 when they started, maybe even younger. Two men guarding a little girl, and that is disparaging. Now, keep in mind, in real life, later on, she would save their Patuxkis way more than once. But this whole, they can frame anything any way they want. We did it earlier when they tried to get down, if they didn't already take it down, the statue of Abraham Lincoln that was commissioned by the slaves, and it showed the slaves being freed from bondage, and they said that was wrong. There is no pleasing the people that want to erase our history. Look, ISIS. It's like, hey, let's have a conversation with ISIS. What do you guys want to make you feel good about these statues? Nothing. What made the colonialists feel good when they became state people of the United States? Nothing. They hated King George. These folks hate America. And I'm going to tell you that the reason I am making this video instead of doing my homework, which I really, really should be doing, is this. It's heartbreaking. I am watching in America, along with you, for over, 4 years now? Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all these other anti-American people have been erasing our history quite quickly and unbelievably successfully. They said, oh, we just want to get rid of the statues of the Civil War. First of all, we won the freaking Civil War. The South lost, and in order to welcome them back, it was a way of showing, hey, you know, you lost, so you can look at the statue and go, ha ha ha, neener, 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 we beat you. Or you can look at it and go, oh, we were once proud and strong. Either way, it's all good, because they didn't win, and they were Americans. When they were welcomed back, Lincoln made it clear, we cannot punish the South when they come back, because if we punish the South when they come back, then they didn't really come back. We're not united if one side is slapping the other side upside the head. And then to restart the whole thing successfully 100 years later, people have been screaming for a long time now, as in a decade at least, about the Civil War, coming Civil War. Guys, ISIS was the war. They tore down the statues. This is the war. This is what it looks like. Who's going to win this one? Well, it's not looking good for the North this time, because the South was all about, you know, oh, we don't like this race and we don't like that race and this race is better than this race. Well, guess what? Who do you think's winning the war this time? It's the same people. Oh, we don't like this. What do they call it now? Equity. At least the courts for the moment are standing up to Biden going, you can't do that. The 1964 Civil Rights Act. You can't do that. You can't just give people money based on their skin color. And he was, and he did, and they stopped him. But there's a lot more stopping to go on, because this equity thing is anywhere but dead. And when school starts in a few weeks, and the CRT is pumped in deep, and even at CPAC today, they were admitting, it's like, look, we can pass these laws, but the teachers are still going to do it. Yes, yes, they are. Pay attention to what your kids are learning. Pay attention to what's going on in your town. Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea have been erased. What the frick did they do wrong? They were explorers. They went through unbelievable hardship. Unbelievable. Sacagawea was the true hero of keeping them alive. Lewis was the true hero of getting them there. And was that Lewis or was that Clark? No, that was Clark. Clark was the one that did the directing, and Lewis was the one that did the botanical stuff with the plants. And he suffered from, you know, here's another thing. Lewis suffered tremendously from mental illness. He eventually killed himself. And why isn't that all of these things get erased when you take away the statues? Because you can't go, oh yeah, that's the person that did this and this, and oh, and they had this issue and that issue. And you can't say, oh, look at the two guys protecting the young lady. And then you can't follow it up with, yeah, but you know, there were many a times on that trip where she saved them. Exactly. All of that is removed by removing the statue. The entire history is removed. Now, am I a big fan of statues? No, but I'll tell you this. In the town I live in, they didn't take down statues because we didn't have that many to start with. But now they're putting up statues of superheroes. We have a statue of Batman. Gee, can you figure out where I live now? So we have this statue of Batman that was put up. It probably faces no chance of being defaced or torn down. Is that what we're going to do now? Are we going to live in a country that puts up statues of cartoon characters and tears down the statues of the actual human being heroes? It does look like that, doesn't it? It's unbelievably heartbreaking. Unbelievably heartbreaking. I watched this movie a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago now, and it was about the beginning of the Third Reich. It was a 1980 TV movie. I think it was 82. And it was the one about was it the one about the architect? No, it was another one, because I found two and I watched them both one day and then the other one the next. But the point was, Bill Nagy, whatever, however you say that guy's name, the British fellow from Pirates of the Caribbean and a bazillion other movies. He's in it, and him and his brother, and they become officers in the SS. One, because he was pressured into it, and if he didn't do it, he would have landed up like all the people that resisted the SS. That means dead, by the way. And then his brother did it for entirely different reasons, and it was Bill is the one that kept protecting him. And anyways, the point is, after 2 years, they watched the entire country completely change in 2 years. And the brother says to the brother, goes, "How did this happen? How did we just 2 years ago, we were a normal country and with terrible inflation." Sound familiar? And he goes, "It was all the incrementalism. It just little by little. And then those piles of grain turn into a mountain." We've watched a president be spied on far, far deeper, wider than anything of one break-in of Watergate. And nothing happened to the perpetrators. We've watched people in the January 6th movement. It's not an insurrection, guys. Not a single one of them have been charged with insurrection. Many of them have been held without bail for 7 months. And I'll say this before I close. I wanted to make my own video on it, but I'm not going to have time. So I'll include it here. Please share it with your friends if you like it, along with the rest of the heartbreaking video that this is. Here is where the right is really, really faltering. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old from, Minnesota or Wisconsin, or maybe it's the border states. He is up for charges of murder. And the video evidence shows quite plainly and quite succinctly it was self-defense without, well, when it goes to court, it'll be resolved then. But it's pretty hard to dispute. This dude is 100% within his means of self-defense. The people that are being held for the January 6th incident movement, the right has abandoned them, and they've abandoned Kyle Rittenhouse while the country was burning all over the nation for the drug addict who had a knee put on his back because he was trying to add to his list of a rap sheet of passing a fake $20 bill. The National Education Association wants to make his birthday, yes, George Floyd, a national holiday while we're removing Lewis and Clark Sacagawea. The right has to stop. Okay, look, everybody condemned what happened on January 6th, but what's happened since then is the media, the press, and so many others have turned January 6th into something it was not. And those folk are being held as political prisoners. They're not being held for what happened. If the right's going to sit back and let that happen, then I will say this. Flash backward to 1775. John Adams, yes, that John Adams, he defended the soldiers involved in the Boston Massacre because he knew that the Boston Massacre was not what it was portrayed. John Adams was hated virulently for doing that. But he, in doing that, like so many other things that he did, established this country defends those who many, if not everybody, would consider indefensible. And he won, and those fellows were released because it wasn't what they were portrayed. Where are the John Adams of today? Where are the people on the side of actual justice? You know, regular justice, not social justice, just actual justice, defending Americans who are being held as political prisoners while countless cities and jurisdictions have let the people who burned buildings, murdered people, damaged human bodies aplenty, including that cop in Nevada. Do you remember him? The one that was shot in the neck and he's paralyzed? He didn't forget. He's still paralyzed from the neck down. His family didn't forget. They're still visiting him at the hospital or being treated in his home in hospital conditions because, yeah, you don't get to forget you're paralyzed from the neck down. None of those people, not none of those, speak correctly. Very few of those people have come to prosecution, and thousands of them were released with nothing on their rap sheet. Nothing. And January 6 people who were let in by the police, the Capitol Hill police, are still sitting in jail. If the right is going to survive in a free country, they have to stand up like John Adams did, like Ben Franklin did, like Thomas Jefferson did, like George Washington did, like Abraham Lincoln did, and the list is huge. But it seems to have stopped in 2017. We've got to start that list again, or we will get what we deserve. Californians are screaming, oh, our gas prices are so high. You voted for 2 different tax hikes on yourself, and Sacramento voted in for a permanent one, and you kept them there. You voted for this. Quit your belly aching. Righties, this applies to you. If you don't start protecting the right and rights of people, stop your belly aching, because you're no different than a Californian at that point. If you're going to do nothing, then you have no room to complain when it's all gone. And fellas, Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea statue are gone. George Washington statues are gone. Ulysses S. Grant statues are gone. Abraham Lincoln statues are gone. The list is huge. And it's not getting smaller. This is from today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the future.